My next guest suggests that studies comparing gun violence between Europe and the United States might be ignoring a demographic problem rather than a gun problem. Joining us, syndicated columnist Ann Coulter, the best-selling author of Mugged, Racial Demagoguery from the 70s to Obama. And it is great to have you here.
Great to be here.
I want to start. I've got to start here, even though this is a bit of a diversion, because you're such a supporter of Governor Christie, calling the NRA ad on gun control repugnant. What's he doing? Is he going to be a Democrat? Is he abandoning conservatives?
No, he's so good on so many things, and he's governor of a big blue state. He could be so setting himself up to run for president, but what we all love about him is he doesn't seem to care what the liberal media thinks. And then he cries when he meets Bruce Springsteen. Then he says something like this. Come on, the NRA ad isn't going after anyone's children. It's not even about the children. It's about the parents' decision to have armed guards for their children, but not yours.
Don't tell this audience. Don't tell me. I mean, you better tell Governor Christie that he misread badly.
And reprehensible. I mean, when it comes to groups that are generally on the same side as you, including the Republican Congress, I might add, I think you ought to be kind of careful before you leap in and attack them with words like reprehensible. Reflect, think a moment, see what the ad says. I mean, I don't know if he had seen the ad before he said it, or if someone just said to him, oh, they're going after Obama's
You're not
children.
blaming it on the staff now, are you? You don't like it that much.
No, I'm saying that Republicans generally, they are going to be throwing unfair quotes at you. Just don't attack your friends until you know the facts.
Well, let's get to the substance. You think that gun control in this country is a demographic problem? Rather than
partially.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Well, you had the perfect description of it there. Liberals are always throwing this at you, these gun statistics with, what Sweden's gun crimes are like, what Japan's gun crimes are like.
Norway is big too.
These are very homogeneous societies, and they're saying that to gun rights supporters like me, thinking that we will be unable to speak the truth because we're not allowed to mention anything that has to do with race in this country. I mean, take Japan, for example. Yeah, Japanese have very low gun crime rate. Japanese who come to America, even lower. So apparently it's not America's gun culture. And that's been a fact for, going back 20 years. If you compare white populations, we have a lower gun crime rate than Belgium. So, knock off the comparisons to other countries. I just hate these attacks on America as this macho, white male gun culture. That isn't the problem. We have a crime problem on one hand, and as for the mass killings in public places, though, that's a mental illness problem, and you can talk to the ACLU about that.
It's also a demographic problem. It is young, mentally ill, white men. And
not always. There are a lot of...
I didn't say always. I said 98% of the time.
Not really.
Yeah. Well, yes, really.
No, I'll tell you what happens.
Yes, really.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
Okay, who was at Aurora? Who was
the last few big ones.
Who was at Newtown?
Okay, how about
No, please. Well, let's go down the list. You want to?
No, but let me explain why your list will be off. Your list is off because the ones that attract the attention tend to be the white males. There was an Hispanic just like 6 months ago. What was it? Nevada, I think, who shot up. It was a Wendy's or an IHOP, shot up a bunch of naval officers.
Well,
or Army. I don't know what they were, but why did that make no news? Sen-Xian, I think his name was. I'm sorry, I wasn't anticipating this discussion, but I'll post it on my webpage when I get home.
We will record a 60%
No, it basically looks like America.
But the point is...
Except it looks like America with our immigration problem. Colin Ferguson on the Long Island Railroad, immigrant. The one I'm talking about out in Arizona or Nevada that shot up the IHOP, immigrants. We're importing, I mean, it's bad enough that we're not looking for immigrants who are not immediately going to go on welfare, 60% of them. We're also apparently not screening for mental illness. Well, it's one thing if you're a mentally ill United States citizen, but we're inviting them in and making them citizens?
Well, the fact is, the last 4 mass shootings in the country, and I will even accede to your note.
Yeah, I don't think it's the last 4. I think it's the last 2.
Well, actually, it's the
because
last...
my Hispanic, I think, is more recent than Arizona, certainly.
Okay. 4 of the last 5 were young men who were mentally disturbed.
Right.
And, by the way, whose parents, whose family, or mental health professionals knew of the threat they were to themselves and to society.
Yes.
And inexcusably...
And random students and the tattoo artists.
Inexcusably did not in any way try to stop them.
Well, I don't know that they could have because of laws governing mental health. And you can thank the ACLU, and as I keep telling him to his face, Geraldo Rivera, for that, for the deinstitutionalization movement. We don't want to stigmatize them as if, these are people who worry about stigma. By the way, given
great force during the Reagan administration, and that is an issue that is really, I think both parties bear
about 17% fewer mass homicides in states that allow involuntary commitment.
A terrific statistic, one which I hadn't heard, and as always, I learned something when you're here. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And Coulter.